Today, I thought I'd talk a little bit about belonging and becoming. This was something that came to me last week when I decided to start a public Facebook group to talk about the hero's journey and mindfulness and awakening our personal myth. It was something I had been afraid of for a long time because I had stopped kind of using Facebook personally, I don't know, years ago now. I haven't checked in on my personal Facebook page. And I had a listen to sleep page for my podcast, but I wasn't really doing much with it. And I just felt like, ugh, not more social media. And I went into that feeling and I thought, what is that? What is that fear of starting a public Facebook group? And there were really two parts of it. There was the fear that it was going to be more than I could manage and it would turn into a dumpster fire. And I just this feeling like I can't do this. I'm not up for this. And then the other fear was that how am I ever going to build a a community that's more intimate if there's just this big open group on Facebook? And so I sat with those fears for a morning. I said, I don't know. I don't know how these things are going to work out, but I felt a deep intuition to do it. I thought about all the times I've heard from people who said, I just need a little support and I can't afford anything right now. And how I wanted to have something for those folks. I wanted to have a place where people could come and feel like they have support for belonging and becoming. And so I went with my intuition. I took my own advice. And that intuition led to the intention to start a free group. Is it going to be a bad idea? I don't know. Is it going to be a good idea? I don't know. But I do know that it was something that came very strongly from my intuition. And I think it's a really good thing that it scared the heck out of me. The night that I actually started it, I laid in bed going, oh, wait a minute. Have I made a huge mistake? And it reminded me so much of the time I was 10 years old and I had taken on the neighbor kids' not Facebook, Facebook on the brain today. I had taken on the neighbor kids' paper route for a week while they went on vacation. And the night before, I had to get up at 5 in the morning to deliver the papers on my bike. I thought, I can't do this. And I was in tears and I went into my mother's room and she was like, you can do this. You can do this. It's okay. Don't worry. And that core feeling of unworthiness is something that has been with me my whole life. I've talked about this before, how much of the success I found in life prior to really to developing my mindfulness practice and seeing through what that was all about, much of that success was just a reaction to wanting to push away that feeling of unworthiness. Like, I'm going to show you I am worthy. And it was like I couldn't even enjoy the successes I had because they were just a resistance to this feeling of not being able to be successful. And I want to talk a little bit about how we move through those kinds of things, those deep resistances. And part of what I've realized lately is so much of it is this combination of belonging and becoming. And it's reflected in the way that I teach mindfulness. Many different styles of mindfulness exist. from cross-legged meditation on a certain thought or sound or the breath to Buddhist mindfulness or to like corporate wellness. Let's just get you to calm down a little so that you can be more productive. Well, none of those are really the way I teach it. I teach what I learned from my own experience, which is that the most valuable way of coming to mindfulness for me was gentleness, curiosity, and compassion. Now, let's start with the curiosity, because that's really what gives the mind something to do. It takes the mind, which is a tool that many of us feel is also who we are. These thoughts are mine. These intrusive thoughts are driving me crazy. These thoughts about what I don't want to think about are, and so we get very kind of lost in the past and the future in this imaginary space in our mind, and we call that me. I'm thinking about me. Well, when we bring curiosity to our present moment experience, all of a sudden, nothing needs to be pushed away. And we can start to use the mind to just go, what is this? What is this thought? What is this emotion? What is this experience I'm having right now of a me who has all these ideas about the past and the future and needs and wants and desires and attachments and resistance and shame and specialness, all of it. What is it? So we can bring that curiosity to the present moment and give the mind something else to do instead of creating this imaginary space where it's busy thinking about who we are. And then compassion. Compassion opens our heart to that felt sense of we're all in this together. So we're not just thinking beings, we're feeling beings. But it's very easy to cut ourselves off from the senses when we're locked in this mind-identified sense of self. So we take that curiosity and we loosen the mind up and we give it something to do. What is this? We open our hearts to ourselves and others with compassion, which isn't sympathy, it isn't empathy, it isn't love. It is that felt sense that we are all in this together. And then we connect them with gentleness. That gentleness is what brings the whole thing together. We're not white knuckling our way into being mindful because, damn it, I need to get rid of this anxiety. We're going, hello, anxiety. What thoughts are here? What feelings are in the body? What is this? Right here, right now. Not the story of what is going on. Not the story of the past, not the story of the future. But what's here right now? And if we want to meditate mindfully, we can do that. If we want to wash the dishes mindfully, we can do that. If we want to take a walk mindfully, we can do that. Drive through traffic mindfully. Boy, a little mindfulness makes traffic a much different experience. And that mindfulness is really like a lens that we're putting on. Imagine it's like goggles. And it's allowing us to create a simulated awareness of what mindfulness is. It's kind of like working out or trying it on before it becomes natural. Because mindfulness is a non-judgmental awareness of the present moment in service of self-knowledge. And that awareness is something that's there all the time. But when we're lost in the mind, when we're lost in a resistance to the sensations in the body or the feelings in the body or the hi, come on up. Ah, she's here. Um, when we're lost in this mind identified self, we don't we don't feel that mindfulness. We don't feel that connection to who we are. Okay, come here. Come on. She's got to be in my lap right now. But when we put this lens on, when we remind ourselves to use the mind as a tool, to use it for becoming more mindful, when we can support that heart center, that compassion, with a sense of belonging and a community of people who support us in approaching life compassionately, and when we're gentle with ourselves, we can create a whole different sense of what it means to be us. And that different sense brings us closer to our natural state, what I like to call our instinctual operating system, the original operating system, the one that is prior to that mind identified sense of self, the one that Asha uses. She doesn't spend any time thinking about the past or the future. She's just here right now. And if you have a cat or a dog, they're fantastic teachers for mindfulness, for being present. So when we do anything with curiosity, compassion, and gentleness, we're bringing more mindfulness into our experience. And as we bring more mindfulness into our experience, we find that mindfulness is always available to us, even in the midst of what feels like the deepest mind identified state, when we're just lost in fear and we don't see what's going on, or even if we're lost in desire or something that isn't so scary. We can get off of this seesaw of feeling shame and specialness. Shame, specialness, shame, specialness. I feel shameful. I want to feel special. I feel special. Oh my God, the thing that made me feel special went away. I feel shameful. We don't have to be at the mercy of circumstances. While life is all about cause and effect, I love what Dogen, a, an ancient Zen teacher, had to say about it. He said, cause does not come before effect, and effect doesn't come after cause. And as we start to live more mindfully, we see the interconnectedness that's behind that. We see that everything is here in this moment. And when we have a sense of belonging to help us open up that heart, when we have a focus on becoming who we authentically are, we can use the mind to get curious about our present moment experience. And so that's why this space and this new Facebook group, I think, are so important, because there isn't a lot of support for those two simple things, for a sense of belonging and support for becoming who we authentically are. And that can take a while to get past all the conditioning that we've all had growing up in our lives. But really, what I've found is getting past that conditioning is about accepting it, not pushing it away, not somehow conceptually understanding it, but finding room to hold it all. And mindfulness helps us do that. And then, of course, it's only the first step on the hero's journey. It's the way we see the ordinary world and the beginning of all of our journeys, all of our heroes' journeys. From mindfulness, we can yield to the present moment. We can move through the fear and doubt that always comes with transformation. We can integrate the healing that comes through knowing ourselves more deeply through that transformation. And then we can awaken our personal myth to telling the story of the present, not the past, not the future, but the present. Who are we now? And that's how we can share this with others and really start to make a big change, not just in our own lives, but in the lives of those that we love or people we don't even know. So I'm curious what you think about all of this and what's worked for you.